Warning, the following fan fiction was chosen solely because of the fact of how bad it is. Due to the low quality of this fan fiction, editing has been ignored. We accept no responsibility for wasting your time or any other major/minor side effects. Hello and welcome to a reading of a great fanfic. Keyword here is great. Or great. It's called Not All Alicorns Are Princesses, and it's about an OC named Zoe, and the person who wrote its name is Zoe Pants. So it's basically just an OC fic, and the only characters that are listed to be in it is OC. So this is gonna be great. Ready? What are you doing here, Star Spire? Are you here to destroy my life again? Oh, Zoe, we haven't seen each other for 5 years now. And this is how you greet your old friend? Where have your manners gone? You're not my friend. You never were. You only wanted to use me for power. Oh, no, that's a lie. There was a time when we were friends. When we were inseparable, but you were just a little too noisy. I stood there silent. The rain was leaking through the holes in the roof. I looked at my surroundings for a way out, but there was none. The windows was boarded up, and Starspire was blocking the only door. All I could do is stand there and stall her. Don't know what good it would do, but maybe I'll think of some way to escape. You still haven't answered me, Star. What are you doing here? I came to end this once and for all. I came to stop you before you did something stupid. You could have just lived your banishment in peace. But you're just, well, a little noisy. I don't know what you're talking about. Lying to try and postpone the inevitable. Oh, Zoe, you know exactly what I'm talking about. I knew. She knew of my plans. I was so close to having the proof I needed to put Starspire behind bars and to put me back in Canterlot. I needed more time, but it looked like my time had run out. I stood there looking at the mare who was wielding the most powerful weapon in Canterlot. Her rail guard armor was covering her black purple coat. Her eyes locked on me. This should end this. I should ended this years ago. My story's not a long one to tell. I was born in Las Pegasus Hospital. My father was a unicorn and my mom a Pegasus. They lived in Las Pegasus there. Who life, that is, until they had me. I was an alicorn, which is very uncommon. Alicorns are said to have exceptionally large amounts of magic, which is why they make good princesses. Being an alicorn automatically gets you and your family a house in Canterlot and royalty training from Princess Celestia herself. That's when I met Starspire. Starspire's father, Captain Flintshield, was a captain of the Royal Guard at the time. And he put Starspire in magic defense class in my training. I had to take the same class. We both had our futures planned out for us. I was going to be a princess and she was going to take her dad's place on the Royal Guard. I think that's why we became friends. We didn't like the fact that we had no say in what we did or in our life, and was a little rebellious because of it. We would play pranks on the grads, and we would sneak out at night to yell down the streets, waking up every pony. Luna would catch us, but she couldn't tell on us. She sent us home. Starspire was right. There was a time when we were inseparable. We remained friends up to our adulthood. It wasn't long till I was an official princess. Just a few more classes and my studies would be complete. I was working with Celestia on a device that would help the royal guard protect the castle from strong forces of evil. This device amplified a unicorn's magic and turned it into pure energy, able to cut through steel with ease. We called it the Torch. Although the device was complete, Celestia wanted to find a way to stop its power before she revealed it to the royal guard in case it would fall into the wrong hands. She thought me of a redirect spell. She taught me a redirect spell that would do the trick, but it was difficult to perfect. The torch was supposed to be a secret between me and Celestia, but I told Starspire all about it. I couldn't help myself. She was my best friend. How could I have known at the time that she was going to betray me? One day, after I got done with my classes, I went to get my notes from the room me and Celestia stored the device. When I opened the door, I saw Starspire standing there with the torch in her hand. She looked at me. I just stood there, confused and shocked. She dashed at me, pushing me out of her way to the doors. I could have stopped her. I was strong than her, and had more powerful magic, but I didn't. I think I was too shocked, or just I didn't know what to hurt my friend. Down the hall she ran with the torch in her hoof. I finally came to my senses and chased after her, but she was long gone. I thought about going to get Celestia that night, but I didn't want to get Starspire in trouble. I wanted to stop Star myself and spare my friend from the harsh punishment Celestia would surely give her. Also, I didn't know how to explain how Star knew about the torch, so I set off in the night looking for Starspire, but she was nowhere to be found. Next morning, a guard woke me up. "Princess Celestia would like to see you," he barked at me. My stomach had dropped. I know exactly what this is about, but I didn't know how bad it would turn out. I got out of bed and headed out of my room. More guards waited for me in the hallway. They escorted me to Celestia's throne room. As I walked in, I saw Starspire and her father staring at me. Celestia stood from her throne and walked toward me. "Where is the torch?" Celestia asked me, with much anger in her voice. I knew I had to rat Starspire out. "Starspire stole it last night." I stopped to go get my notes from the room and... She's a liar. She's trying to cover for herself, Star yelled out, interrupting me. "Settle down, Starspire, Zoe. Captain Flintshield saw you last night. Run away with the torch." "Where were you going with it?" Celestia asked me. "I don't have it. I told you that Starspire stole it last night." Celestia's intimidation was getting to me. I was getting shaky. "You're telling me that the captain of the Royal Guard would lie to me? Also, if you saw Starspire stealing the torch, why didn't you stop her, or at least get me?" And that raises another question. Would Starspire even know about the torch? It was supposed to be a secret between me and you. I was silent. Tears was forming in the corner of my eyes. I don't think the truth would save me, no. Starspire had her dad helping her. Why would Celestia take my word over the captain of the Royal Guard? I'll ask you one more time. Where is the torch? Celestia's voice was firm. Her eyes locked in on me. I was bursting into tears. I don't know. I don't have it. You gotta believe me. Starspire has it. I cried out, but I knew it was no. But I knew it was no go. I had no evidence to back me up, and Celestia had all the right to assume I did. I just hoped for mercy. But I know Celestia is not known for mercy. Well, if you won't tell me where the torch is, I will have no choice but to banish you from Equestria. If you return, you will be executed. I had never heard Celestia so mad in my life, but I understood. She had her whole kingdom to protect, and the torch being missing meant the kingdom could be in danger. Little did she know that getting rid of me wasn't the way to go. Gods, take her away. Search all across the kingdom for the torch. I want it found. Go, go, go! Celestia ordered. A few guards approached me and threw me to the ground. One guard started tying my hooves together, while another one put a bag over my head. The last sight I saw was Starspire smiling as I struggled. Celestia cast a spell to temporarily stop me from being able to use my horn for magic. The guards threw me in the back of a carriage and took me far from the castle. The ride took forever. All I could think about was the whole way there is how I could have prevented this. Now I'm banished, lost, forsaken. Several hours later, the carriage stopped. 2 guards grabbed me and threw me to the ground. They untied me and took the bag off my head. I looked around. I was in a large field. The tall grass stretched to the horizon. There were a few trees around, but the land was mostly empty. I wasn't sour. There I was. But I knew I wasn't in Equestria anymore. There's a town just south of here. Maybe they will let you stay for a while. The guard groaned at me as he pointed in the direction of the town. Don't think about coming back to Equestria. All the guards will be watching for you. Off the guards went. I watched the direction they flew so I might find my way back to Equestria. Despite the guards warning, I didn't plan on staying at this place. I wanted my name cleaned. I wouldn't mind getting some revenge on Starspire. Before I went anywhere, though, I needed a plan. No, that word is plain. Before I went anywhere, I needed a plane. She wasn't going to steal the torch for no reason. Finding that reason would surely be a start. I headed to the town the guards pointed me to get some rest. It had been a long day. It was a few months of being banished before I traveled back to Equestria. I found an abandoned town in the hayseed swamp to settle in. The town had a few run-down houses, an old bank, a large church. A small tribe of zebras occupied most of the houses, but let me stay at the church. Although the zebras and I got along, we didn't communicate much. Occasionally they asked me for assistance if they had use for my magic, and in exchange they would give me food. Most of the time, though, we would keep distance from each other. The church was far from good shape. When I moved in, the roof had holes, the windows were boarded up, and the floors were warped. I'm surprised it's still standing today. Anyways, it wasn't much, but it was the best I could do. Now, I'm back in Equestria. I could get start. Now that I'm back in Equestria, I could start getting proof of my innocence. I remembered Starspire's talking about getting her weapons forged from a blacksmith in Manhattan. She said he was a friend of hers and that he probably needed the money, having no ties with the royal guard. That would be a perfect place for Starspire to replicate the torch if she wanted to. It wasn't much of a start, but it was a start nevertheless. So I headed to Manhattan. It was hard to sneak around being an alicorn. You kind of stick out like a sore hoof without hiding either your horn or your wings. I was worn. it was it was too warm. Worm. Whoa. Your misspelling is humorous to me. It was too warm to wear a jacket, so hiding my wings was out. So I put a cowboy hat to hide my horn. I walked into Manhattan, avoiding eye contact with any pony, which was hard because Manhattan was a big city. Two guards appeared behind me, walking in a fast pace, so started walking faster, avoiding looking behind me. They started to run. I started to panic. "Hold it there!" one of the guards yelled. I dropped to the ground and put my hooves over my head. There was no sense fighting. Even if the guard, if even if I escaped the guards, it would. If word reached Celestia that I came back to Equestria, she would find me no matter how far I run. So I surrendered. The guards ran past me. "Stop, thief!" Criminal scum. The guards yelled as they ran for a colt sprinting down the street with a purse in his mouth. That was a close one. Not long after, I found a blacksmith shop. I walked in and looked around, seeing if there was any immediate signs of Starspire bringing the torch here. Nothing but nothing out of the ordinary, though. Just some lockets, weapons, and tools lay around the shop. "Anything I can help you with?" the blacksmith asked. That's when I saw it, behind the counter. Metal cut by the torch, exactly like Celestia and mine's test. Starspire was here. But I couldn't just directly ask the smith if she was here. He would probably recognize me and call the guards on me if I did that. I had to get him out of the shop so I could snoop around. "Yes, I locked myself out of my apartment and was hoping you could get me back in." "Ah, which apartment?" As in the things that fly around on brooms. "It's the one in the complex downtown, room 12. I hope there's a apartments downtown. Oh, room 12. I hope there's apartments downtown. On Main Street? He stared at me intensely like he knew I was lying. My face started to sweat. Yes! I answered in a small voice. Yes, I answered in a small voice. Well, okay. That'll be 5 bits, please, and I'll just follow you to your apartment. I handed him 5 bits. Well, you see, I still have some shopping to do in the area, in the this day area. Could you just go ahead and I'll meet you there in a bit? Yeah, that's fine, he said. He grabbed my bits and headed out the door. Well, he's a sucky shop owner. I had to act fast. I jumped behind the counter and shuffling through his filing cabinet. There it was, blueprints to the torch that the blacksmith drew out. Attached to the blueprints was a note from Starspire. The front door of the shop started to open. I shuffled the blueprints and the note under my hat and jumped out from behind the counter. It was the blacksmith. You still here? I forgot my tools, he said to me. That won't be necessary. I found my key. Thank you, sir. I ran into the shop. Wait, don't you want your bits back? The blacksmith yelled out to me as I was running, but I didn't mind losing some change. I just wanted to get out of sight of ponies altogether. Of course, yeah, you don't want the money when you have no job or anything. I arrived at home safely with the blueprints and the note. The blueprints had the blacksmith's shop's logo on it. It was perfect. I looked at the note. It didn't say much, just to recreate the torch and not to tell anybody about it. On the back of the note, there was an address there was addresses ranging all over Equestria. I didn't know why they were there, but they were worth checking out. Although the note, blueprints, was good proof, I wanted more. If I was going to risk approaching Celestia, I spent the next 4 years searching each address on the back of the note. They were all residential houses from a variety of unicorns. Some of them I have heard Starspire mention before. They were a friend of hers. I found notes written to each unicorn about Starspire's plans. She was going to overthrow Celestia and take over Equestria. And each on these unicorns was going to receive their own torch to help her. This was no longer about getting my name cleared. It was about saving Equestria from Starspire. I took all notes I found of Starspire linking her to the torch and kept them in a suitcase under my bed. I almost had everything I needed to prove Starspire's plans when she showed up. So here I am, with the mare, staring my down, the torch equipped to her horn. Where are the blueprints? The notes? Everything? Where are you hiding them? Starspire's voice was getting a little bit harsh. I didn't think I could stall much longer. I already sent them Celestia's way. She's probably looking for you, you know. I lied, hoping she would buy it, but she didn't. She's no fool. If you don't tell me, then I'm just gonna rip this little church apart until I find it. But first, I'll deal with you. I chose my words carefully. Go buck yourself. The torch glowed and a beam of energy came my way. I tried to evade it with a counterspell, which kind of worked, but caused a small explosion. The impact of the explosion sent me through the wall on the other side of the church. I tried opening my wings before I fell to the ground, but it was too late. I hit the ground hard. I looked up and saw Starspire looking down from the hole I left in the wall. The torch started to glow in her horn again, and the beam of energy came at me. I rolled out of the way and hopped onto my legs, barely avoiding the beam. I ran to the other side of the church, out of Star's sight. "Get back here!" Starspire yelled as he jumped out of the hole into the ground. Well, I, while I, okay, while I, okay. While she was looking for me, I flew to the top of the church roof. She circled the church looking for as I prepared myself to pounce. I jumped from the church and swore down to start tracking her, knocking the torch off her horn. The torch sends a beam of energy at the church, ripping a hole in it and catching it on fire. This ends now, she said, horn pointed straight at me. She shot a beam at me. Desperate, I used the redirection spell Celestia taught me. It only worked if you did it at the right time. You have to do the spell right when the other spell hits your horn. It was my only chance. The redirection spell worked, and the beam flung back at Starspire. Her eyes widened as the beam of energy sliced through her armor and into her side. I ran up to her. She was still alive, but her wounds were really severe. The beam sliced some vital organs. She wasn't going to make it. How did you do that? She questioned, coughing. I should have had you. It's a redirection spell. I'm just as surprised as you that it worked. Well, it looks like my time is up. She took off the torch and handed it to me. I'm sorry about all this. I really enjoyed our friendship. I just saw the opportunity for power that I couldn't pass up. Here, take this. It was a letter. Hopefully this helps you. She rolled over her head. Her body became limp, and she died. I looked at the church. It was consumed by fire. There was no saving the proof I had now. The rain in the sky was clearing, now revealing the stars. I thought about the whole ordeal and how it ended the last 5 years of my life down the drain. I guess it wasn't all bad. I had a nice home, although it was burnt down. There's another house in town I could stay in. I wasn't fond of becoming a princess anyway. Celestia, how dare she judge me so harshly, not trusting me after all these years. Maybe being banished was the best thing to happen to me. Oh yeah, the letter Starspire handed me. I opened it up and read it. If you're reading this, Zoe, I am dead. Give this note to Celestia. I'll explain this whole thing to her and give you your life back. If my life ended, there's no point in keeping you from yours. Your friend, Starspire. The rest of the note explains Starspire's plan to take over the kingdom in great detail. It had Starspire's stamp of approval on it, which was enough to clear my name. I guess being a princess won't be so bad. Wow, wasn't that amazing? Yeah, okay. Anyway. Yeah. Yeah, no.